What is going on? And welcome back to another episode of Opinions from Offside. As usual, it's me, Michael, and you've got my co-host and partner in crime, the brilliant Kanye. What's going on, Kanye? Kanye Believe, episode 25. Full-length
Cooking with gas, mate. Cooking with gas.
And the numbers are a little bit better lately as well, so that's a good thing. Shout out to everybody that's watching and sharing and supporting and stuff. How's things? How's your day? How's work? How's life in England?
All right, mate. All right. England is cold. Not too cold today. It's getting there. It's one of those. Everyone is just looking forward to the weekend, and it's weird because Tenerife every day is a weekend, and it's like we were more looking forward to a Tuesday or a Wednesday rather than a Saturday or a Sunday. But we're getting there. I've hopefully got good news on the house, so hopefully all look as well. Hopefully a couple of weeks, and I'll have my own gaff.
Nice, beautiful.
What's going on with you? How was the gym?
Yeah, the gym is all right. Back in the gym. I definitely need a lot more sessions. Got to get some weight back off. And I was thinking about doing Sober October. Not just because it rhymes, but I thought, you know what, it will give me a target. Like 1st of October, I was like, I can do it today. And then, I don't need to drink, but you tend to do when you work in bars. I mean, to be fair, you don't. Like, I've never really seen you getting involved in all that when you've been managing bars and that in Tenerife. Really?
I've done that. I've done my time doing that. That's why I like so. And plus, when you're managing a bar, it's different. You have to set that step away a little bit. And I suppose, especially in the bars that you've seen me in, like Soul Sweet, GG's, places like that, it was different. Like I think what helped me a lot was the driving to work. As soon as I moved, it made it easier. So it sort of took away the need for it. But yeah, it was more of a once in a blue moon thing. Once I got a month doing it, it was fine. It's not a problem. It's just the first couple of weeks is, especially what you've seen it, people love to get you a drink. The minute you say you're not drinking, just have one. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I'm either on it or I'm not. So,
It's like a red flag to a ball, isn't it? When
that is it. It's like
That's my thing, being on stage as well, because the way people show their appreciation is they want to buy you a drink, they want to buy you a beer, they see you drinking Jack Daniels, they want to buy you a Jack Daniels. And then the other advantage or disadvantage is I'm so busy that if I'm running between 3 or 4 shows a night, I can't always park. So then I've got Steph with me and she's a driver. So now I haven't got the whole I've got to drive excuse. And then it's bad, but if the audience are difficult, you find yourself having a shot or whatever just to handle people.
Yeah.
So the habit I've got to get out of because it's all empty calories and, it's not good for the health and stuff. Right, but that aside, we're going to talk about football in a bit. We're going to go and look ahead to briefly. Would you want to do that now or do you want to talk about our topic for today? What do you prefer? Do you want to do the weekend's fixtures, flash through them first, maybe?
Let's flash through the fixtures. Get these gone through. Well, right. What do you think? What do you think? We could do topic or we could flash through the fixtures?
Flash through the fixtures because we'll give our predictions.
To be fair, you've got a pink border. So maybe that's a sign.
It's a sign. Maybe it's a sign. Could just be my fruitiness. Who knows?
Oh, well, we'll leave it at that. If you want to be fruity, you can be fruity, son. No one's here to judge you.
Just was on the Hammers Chat Patreon, and Gio on there is running a competition. They're giving away a replica medal from the Conference League win, West Ham, and it's like a medal with a lanyard. And so he said, like, Bobby knows about it. We were talking earlier on.
Bobby wants one.
And Bobby wants one. And he said to enter into this, just let me know. So I'm going to enter Bobby. Said, just let me know below if you just want to be entered into the competition. Just say something like, enter me or, I'd like the medal or please can I be in the draw for it? So without thinking, I wrote underneath, I would like to be entered. And I thought, well, that could be misconstrued. And now I've got it in writing. So it's,
Got it in writing now.
That's it. Got it in black and white. Let's have a little look first of all. I don't even know the fixtures. Have you got them in front of you? Do you know what they are?
I have, yeah. So the first game we've got, tonight there's a game. We've got the championship game, which is Sunderland and Leeds.
Yeah.
It's a big game. I'm sure Sunderland are the top of the league at the minute. They're flying, doing well. But Premiership-wise, the first game's tomorrow, 12:30. Liverpool Palace at Palace.
Liverpool Palace. How you feeling about that? I'd fancy Liverpool to win that. Palace are a funny team. We spoke about recently. sometimes when they click, they look really, really good. And like my team, West Ham have been awful so far this year, but we've got a 2-0 win against Palace. We definitely touched on it in the last episode about them missing Elise and the space that he gives Eze. But you'd fancy Liverpool to do a professional job on that. Do you fancy that one? Do you think they'll be all right?
I do now. If you'd have said before with their players, especially how they turned up against us last year, they rolled us over. Now, no, I think they don't look the same team. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're winless.
Are they?
I'm sure they're winless.
It's definitely. We keep talking about getting guests on. Bobby the doggy is definitely desperate to come and have his say, isn't he? About Liverpool. He is. Bobby Firmino. He hasn't got a bit gutted because for those of you that are audio listeners only, we're looking at Bobby now. He's come on the screen to give us his opinion. He's not got the teeth of his namesake. Can we not get him some big old gnashes? Can we not
maybe for Halloween.
That's it, for Halloween. That's what we've got to do. We've got to get him some big old gnashers, Bobby F style, and we'll get him up, park him with a big old teeth. Yeah, I'd fancy Liverpool to win that one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, now, yeah. I mean, especially how we've started as well. All our players seem to be doing all right. They're slotting into the system, and no one's. I mean, Salah's been really good, but I think the teams look good. Which is, I mean, I said to you last time, I think our weakness is the slow play. But if you watch, I know you don't watch it as much as I do, but Konate has this little habit of happily just clipping the ball to the channel, which is nice to see. I mean, you see Van Dijk, he loves a big switch, and it's powerful, it's switched. But Konate will clip the ball and get them turned. And it's keeping teams not honest, but it's keeping them on the toes for the clip over the top with Salah, Jota, Nunez, Diaz especially. He's had a good start as well. So, yeah, I'd be comfortable. Bobby, behave.
I mean, that's what I said to you on the build-up for the Cup game, Liverpool-West Ham. I said, if we play a high line like that with those reserve fullbacks that are slow, it's suicide, isn't it?
Yeah.
To beat 5-1. So, yeah, I fancy. What are you going for there? 3-1? 3-0?
That's 2-0. 2-0. 2-0? Yeah, 2-0.
Right. Go on, I'll go for 3-1. Next
3-1.
fixture.
Arsenal, Southampton.
Yeah, you'd imagine Arsenal do a professional job there. Southampton, newly promoted. They're having a little battle. They've got a couple of our players. One, they signed on a permanent, West Ham boy, Flynn Downs, and they've really got a chance. He was absolutely pivotal for them last season in the Championship and really instrumental in getting them promoted. I'm not even sure if they've made him captain. And the other one I think they took Maxwell Cornet on loan.
Yeah.
By all accounts has been absolutely dire for them. So it's not really clicked for them yet. You'd imagine, when you know in football, especially Premier League football, but you'd imagine Arsenal would take that quite comfortably. Would you reckon?
Yeah, yeah. 2-0. The thing is, there's talk of Russell Martin being under pressure. Thing is, if he's gonna get up through the Championship, and you're not gonna financially given the dough to go and keep up, you're gonna expect to go back down. So you might as well let him keep these players, give them the Premiership experience. So when you do go down, you're ready to go back, and then you're set for the second time. I think if you're not going to put the money in instantly, you've got to plan 4 or 5 years forward there. Or you could be like Forest did. You go, right, we're just going to buy another 18 players.
Yeah, I was going to say there's two approaches. There's the Forest way, where you go big and you just hope that it pays off to stay up. Or actually, Norwich springs to mind. They were happy to come up, keep that group of players together largely, take the parachute payments, go down, have another run at it, and then they're a bit of a yo-yo club, and they seem to have away a little bit, but they sort of under what was his name, Daniel Farke.
Daniel Farke, yeah, another name.
Yeah, brilliant. He seemed to be content to have that. What you're saying, like succession planning, take the parachute money, not overspend on the wage bill, so that you didn't have to cull too many players if you drop down into the Championship, and then you make a run at it again. So it's weird. At the moment, we've got, especially when you look at the statistics, we've got like a group of, maybe 16, 17 teams that are pretty not safe, but they're like Premier League standard. And then you've maybe got 6 or 7 teams in the Championship that fight it out. And it always seems to be that generally the teams that are newly promoted are just not good enough to stay in the Premier League. And then largely in the main, they drop back down the division, and then the usual sort of 6 or 7 suspects come up again. It's almost like teams like West Ham and Newcastle used to be. Too good for that division, but not quite good enough for the top division. So yeah, you'd fancy an Arsenal win there. Would you like to see Southampton stay up?
You know what? I've always liked Southampton because we used to buy all their players off them. It used to be our affiliate club for a little bit, didn't there? We had Lovren, Lallana, Van Dijk, Mane, Ricky Lambert. They had loads of their players off them. I like Southampton as a club, and it's more really growing up. Players like Letitia, Oshkenstad, Marian Pahars, those sort of players. Like, I'd like them to stay up, but at the expense of who? That's the question.
That is the question. So, what's the next fixture?
You got Brentford versus Wolves.
That's a funny one. Brentford. I didn't see the game because I was working. I've seen the highlights. We drew 1-1 with them. They don't seem quite as potent this season. They're a good team. They're ravaged with injuries. They had 9 first-team players out the weekend, so I don't know what their circumstances are there now. Their forward, I forget his name, but the replacement they signed.
Oh, the Brazilian.
Was it Evan Nilsson? Is that
that's the Bournemouth one. I know what you mean though. Yeah, he's injured.
Yeah, so he was the replacement for Tony, really. That had already had again succession planning for him to go. Wolves, Gary O'Neill was under a bit of pressure recently, so that's falling apart. You probably put that down as a 1-1 draw, maybe depending on the injury situation. Maybe Brentford could nick that 2-1. What do you reckon?
See, you know what? I'd say 1-1, but I'd say more Wolves nicking it than Brentford. I think Brentford will come out of the blocks early, and then I think they'll slow. I think that's what they've done the last couple of games. They slowed down. They've hit the ground running and then just slowed down. So I've been looking more of a 1-1, 2-1 Wolves, I think.
Yeah. I quite like Cunha. You see much of him?
Excuse me? Mateus Cunha.
Yeah. What do you think of him?
You know what? He's one of those where you can see he has the ability, but he just doesn't seem to do it consistently enough for me. Like, if you're looking at Wolves team, you're the man. Like, of those players, I mean, that Bellegarde looks okay, but Cunha's the one. Where did he come from? Atletico? Is it Atletico Madrid?
Can't remember. It was Lopetegui that brought him in. Yeah.
And I just think, you know what? He should have. I'm sure it was Atletico, but he should be the man in that team. And he's one of them where I think he's not shy away from being the man, but doesn't want to do that. Right, we're in trouble. Give him the ball, or we need something. Give him the ball to do something. I don't think he takes that on. Like, but the ability-wise, he got it. He can go both sides. Good goal scorer when he has the chances, and there's no pressure on him. Because if you watch, he very rarely does it. Well, what I've noticed from watching him, he very rarely gets the first goal, but he'll get the second or third. You know, when the pressure's not on, so I don't know if that's just the games I've seen him in, but he looks a player.
Who was we talking about recently where we said they're like a win-you're-winning player? We spoke about. Yes, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, if you're winning, he comes alive and he's all right, but he doesn't take the game by the scruff of the neck like what you're saying. You want to see Cunha taking go. So I'm going to go either a 1-1 draw or a narrow Brentford win. And you're going the other way, a 1-1 draw or a narrow Wolves win. So we'll report back on Monday or Tuesday and we'll see how that went down. What's the next one?
Leicester Bournemouth.
Yeah, it's another funny one, isn't it? That's who Evan Nilsson plays for. He was the Solanke replacement. He was pretty good, but he's not really. I don't think he's really hit his stride yet. Again, the point of reference I've got is we played them the round before. We played you in the cup, and they should have beat us really. So they're quite battling. I've not seen much of Leicester, to be honest. That's more your area.
Not been great.
No,
not been great. No,
there are 2 more teams that I think are probably going to be the bottom half of the table. I think.
I can see that both of them. Yeah, but Bournemouth sometimes when they play really well. It's just like when we spoke about the Southampton. I think you said it was a draw, and I said I think it'd be a 3-0 to Bournemouth. I think they'll run out winners because of the way Southampton get caught. And I think this one will be a similar. I think Leicester could quite easily get caught trying to play out from the back. Maybe not a 3-0, maybe a 2-1 to Leicester at home. Let's say 2-1 Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
unfortunately.
I'm going to go for a 2-2 on that one. A Desmond. Go for a Desmond 2-2. We'll go for a Dixon. Do you remember a
Dixon, a
Dixon?
two. Hell of a player. Yeah, he used to sign him on Chat Manager all the time. Centre midfielder, great player. And then I seen him join someone. I think he joined Fulham. I think I used to get him from Preston. He joined Fulham, and I didn't realise how big he was. He's a right unit.
Massive.
Remember the wardrobe? Papa Bouba Diop. Yeah.
I do, man. He's passed away, and he's not with us anymore.
Yeah. Big Papa Bouba. Well, his team are playing next on the list. Man City, Fulham.
Man City, Fulham, another one. We went through them recently. They've got good individuals. I quite like the team.
Excuse me.
We went through them, yeah. You had a few drinks, so that not getting carried away. I quite like their individuals. I quite like them as a team. Can't see them stopping Man City though, even without Rodri. So I think that's probably a routine 2-0 to Man City. What do you think?
I'm going to go 3. I'm going to go 4-0 actually. 4-0 Man City, just because after dropping points to Newcastle, I think Pep will be right on them. And they took it out on the Champions, the Slavia Prague. I think it was Slavia Prague they played. I think it'll be another 4-0. I think they'll hit it very early. They'll score early. Probably a Haaland hat trick.
When's the next European fixture though?
Next week.
Yeah, so I wonder if he'll just go 2 or 3 up and then cruise.
Who, Haaland?
No, Pep.
You don't care about European fixture. Oh, no, sorry, it's internationals next week, isn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah, so you're right,
yeah. I don't think he'll care about it. I think he'll be throwing it straight out.
Right. Yeah, right, so I'm going to go 2, you're going 4. And the next fixture, any more?
The next one we've got after that is we've got West Ham, your team versus Ipswich.
Oh, fucking hell. Go on, you go first. What do you think of that one?
0-0.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go a boring 0-0. You know what I'm even going to do? I'm going to claim there'll be a... See, you know what? I'm actually leaning towards a 1-0 Ipswich and a Liam Delap goal.
Scored 2 the other day.
Yeah, he looked good, and he looked a bit of a monster. I'll tell you what, you know I've had my thoughts on Todibo from playing him. If Todibo plays, if he can handle Delap in that game, I'll put it down to match sharpness. But if not, I think this Premier League too rugged for you.
In fairness, he was man of the match against Brentford.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he had a great game. He had a good game and got to be man of the match by the sponsors on the day. He was the official man of the match. So, I don't know, maybe
this will be the test. This will be the test then.
Yeah, he did come out and say that he was grateful for Lopetegui giving him time to build up his match fitness because he wasn't ready. So he did come out and say that. So he was almost thanking him for it rather than saying, "Why haven't you been playing me?" So their stories seem to corroborate each other. I've got no faith in West Ham at the moment. I just got no faith in West Ham. They've signed some really good individuals. They've got Sammy Dix, haven't they, from Blackburn, who comes up with a lot of goals from the midfield. They've took our own Ben Johnson, although he's not getting a game at fullback at the moment. You just know, having looked finished and shot to pieces, you know it's going to be a 92nd minute weldy from Calvin Phillips against us, didn't you? You just know it's the stars. We've still not got any Fulkrug. He's still not fit. So it's going to have to be one of Antonio, Ings, or even Bowen up front again. We've got this whole situation with Kudus. So I'll be interested to see if he makes the starting 11. Rodriguez looks so slow. Alvarez is coming back from a suspension. Souček, say what you want about him. He keeps popping up in the right place at the right time, but technically he's not a very good footballer on the ball. Ings can't play up front on his own. Antonio barely got 60 minutes in him, and then he looked dead. It's a worry. I can see why you're saying about the lack of goals there. I'd like to think, I don't know, I've got to back my team really, and I'd like to think, I mean, if no disrespect to Ipswich, because they're a good team, they're a good unit, and I really like Kieran McKenna. I really like how he plays. He's come from Man United. He's brought them up from League One right up to the Premier League. Play some good stuff, and I like him. But if we have all these players like Paqueta, Kuz, Bowen, and so on. If we can't win these games and we can't even get the better of a newly promoted team that are one of the favourites to go back down again, then there's real problem. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win, but an unconvincing performance. And if he does do that, if he does manage a win, Lopetegui, then he's got 2 weeks in the international break to try and get some sort of style implemented in the rest of the players that are not away in it. Because Bowen's been dropped from the England team. I know you wanted to talk about Maddison as well. You wanted to talk about, but if we lose that, he's going to have to put up with all sorts of criticism, and it does seem early to pull the trigger. But I wonder if it'll be a consideration to get rid of him, because then you've got 2 weeks.
But then the question is, though, we'll come back to that afterwards. When we do these, I'll bring that back. Right. So you say 1-0 West Ham, I'm saying 1-0 Ipswich. Everton versus Newcastle.
I can see Newcastle running away with that. I mean, I know they've just picked up a win, Everton, but they've not been convincing at all. And but having said that, there's some unharmonious goings on behind the scenes there. So I don't know how much. But having said that, again, playing devil's avocado to myself, haven't Newcastle just held Man City to a draw? Devil's avocado card coming out. Haven't they just held Man City to a 1-1?
Newcastle did, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd fancy Newcastle to beat. I'm going to go 3-1.
I'm going to go 2-2. I think it's going to be another draw.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, look at how Everton have they've won the last game coming from behind. They were raced into a 2-0 lead in the previous two, all right, they lost. Realistically, they're not, results-wise, they're in bad form, but performance-wise, they're not. They're just losing it in the last 10 minutes. So that's why I think it could be a fitness thing.
Could be a fitness thing.
Could be a fitness thing. Maybe Dyche is trying to get out of him. He's not pushing them too hard. Maybe the players just are not fit enough to do what he's asking to do for the full nighter. Maybe the subs making are not right. Maybe it could be a lot of little things. But to get into 2-0 leads and then throw it away is crazy. Crazy. I mean, look at Brentford. They scored in the first minute 3 times in a row. That's not luck. That's stuff that Thomas Frank works on the training ground, which is another thing for another topic. I want to wasted opportunities. Kickoffs. You have a kickoff every game. Why do you not have a plan of what to do? Teams have only just started doing that, so that's another conversation we can have.
Yeah.
So I'd say a draw for that one. 2-2. I think there'll be goals. Neither team can defend. And then we've got Sunday, Villa versus Man United.
See, we've just done a podcast about it. Man United looking a bit of trouble at the moment. So tell us, I know briefly, we're talking off camera. You were chatting to a Man United fan recently, weren't you?
Yeah, one of the lads at work, and he was basically saying, get Ten Hag out, get him gone. Initially, he said he'd take Fergie back. I was like, of course you bloody would, but times have changed. You wouldn't have a clue now. But he said, no, bring Ollie back for the season. And I was like, well, I think you're crazy. Like the stories that I've heard from a couple of Man U fans from Manchester is that the deal would be, apparently before Ruud and Nistelrooy turned up at United in the coaching scene, he was promised if anything does happen to Ten Hag, he will be given the reins until the end of the year. Apparently. I mean, bearing in mind, he was a manager before he became a coach, so clearly management is something he wants to do. But then on the flip side of it, Man United have struggled to score. They've not looked dangerous going forward. He's forward coach. So, I don't know. It's difficult. And then this whole bringing Rashford off at half time after he'd scored and set one up, like ridiculous. Let the boy play. And then you go, oh, we need to give Garnacho minutes because we've got the Villa game. Shut up. Talking rubbish, mate.
I don't think that's a healthy scenario if Van Nistelrooy has got designs on taking the manager's job, because you almost got somebody standing behind you, looking over your shoulder, waiting for you to fail. I can see that being toxic. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I saw an interesting clip on a podcast. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but it was just like a short. And they were saying that Chelsea's front four at the moment got a combined wage of 285 grand a week. combined wage, their front four, right? Including
Really? Is that it?
Yeah, and then 385 grand a week or something is Rashford on his own, and they were making a comparison. So it's wild, mate. It's crazy. So yeah, he needs to get playing. Villa, good side. Emery, good manager. John Duran just seems to be coming off the bench, scoring worldies every week, just to rub salt in the wound to West Ham. I can see Villa taking that one 2-1, I reckon.
Yeah, that'll probably be. I'd probably say that'll be a game where Man U would turn up.
Yeah,
I reckon it'll be. I'd looking at the game. I'd probably say a Villa 2-0. But just this is the sort of game that Man U will turn up on. So I'm going to say a 2-2.
A lot of goals this week for you.
Yeah. Then we've got Chelsea Forest.
Chelsea are in good form at the moment. It's all seemed to click for them, and Maresca and the players. Cole Palmer seems to be on a real purple streak. I know Forest had a little run where they were unbeaten. I think they've lost now. I think you could put their good form down to having our James Ward-Prowse on loan. So, James Ward-Mouse. So,
luckily enough, he's quite strong in midfield, so you didn't need him.
Unbelievable. And yet we've let Flynn Downs go, who's 24, a West Ham fan, player of the season in the Championship, player of the season in Southampton's team of the year, and got the promotion. Really good with possession, passing is always like 96, 97% passing accuracy every game, and yet we've got Guido Rodriguez, who's like an oil tanker trying to
slow as Christmas.
Yeah, slow as Christmas. Slow as the clock when you're a kid and you finish your exam and you've got to wait for the time to be up before you can leave.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Slow as being at work. I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win there. I think Chelsea have run away with that. I'm going to go 4-0. That's the big one for me. We'll have 4-0 on that, I think. What do you reckon?
I'll go 3-1.
Yeah.
I don't see, if you watch Chelsea play, as good as their attacking is, they're defensively horrific. They conceded 2 against Ghent, like in the Champions League. They still conceded 2 against Brighton and they're dominated. So, I'll go that way.
Does Gift Orban still play for Ghent? Did you see anything of him?
No, I only watched the highlights.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he still plays for them. I'm going to look that up while you tell me the next fixture. Keep an eye out for him.
The next one you've got is Brighton and Hove Albion versus Spurs.
86-0 Brighton.
I'd go. I'm going to go a 2-0 Spurs, especially if Brighton play that high line again.
Tell us all the good things about Spurs. I've muted you, and I didn't even need to because you just sat there in silence.
It popped up and said you muted me. That's why.
We've got them next and all, I think, after the international break. So I'm hoping that all their players break their legs or something. But that might be one of them games where you don't know anymore. Without even the likes of Rice, but especially without Noble and players that understand the history and understand the rivalry. Normally, you'd say that there's the sort of game where the form book goes out the window, like in a derby like that when we play them. I'm talking about looking ahead to that. But I don't know if we've got many players that really understand what it's all about. Maybe Bowen does. So, I can't go for a Spurs win. I quite like Brighton and how they play. 1-0.
1-0. Okay.
Although my head says I could probably see them winning it.
Well, I've got one more game for you, right, that you probably wouldn't have looked at. Right. And it's a big game because one of the biggest games probably been called off. So the second biggest game. In fact, you know what? I'll go for the game that's called off. And what do you think the score would have been? So we've got Chelsea women versus Man United women.
Right. Well, I know nothing about them because I don't watch them. But it also leads us nicely, beautifully.
But they're equals, bro. How do you not know this?
Seamlessly transition into our next subject. Now, I don't know whether we should. I was weighing up whether to do this in a separate episode, or do you want to just go straight through?
Let's do it. Let's drop it in. We're here now.
So let's put the graphic up a minute, and you can explain what Alicia Lehman has said recently in the news. You want to?
So Alicia Lehman came out and she basically said, so anyone that doesn't know, she was transferred, and they say it was a joint transfer. I don't think it was. They wanted Douglas Luiz.
Yeah.
So Douglas Luiz and Alicia Lehman are a couple. Both played for Villa. Juventus signed them both apparently in a double transfer for 60 million euros or £6 million, whatever it was. And then Alicia Lehman's come out and basically said, as it says on the clip there, for those that can't see it, it says, I do the same job as Douglas, play for the same club, but I earn 100 times less money. It's not fair. It's because that affects me because I'm a woman. So my argument to that is you're talking shit because you don't do the same job. You play the same sport. That's two different things.
Well, doing the same job, no, she doesn't have the same impact. It's an entertainment business, so she doesn't have the same draw, does she?
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, I've got respect for women. I've got 3 daughters. One of them plays football. Look, it's an entertainment business. That's like saying I'm fighting a boxing match in York Hall in front of 30 people. I'm doing the same job as Floyd Mayweather. Give me 200 million. It's about eyes on the sport. It's about revenue. It's about sponsorship. You know, it's about television rights. And it just women's football, as much as it's come on leaps and bounds, we're just not there yet with women's football.
But this is it. It is getting there. But I think what they're trying to run before they can walk. So a couple of my friends that do, well, I went to a sports college, so we had a women's football team there. So we played football with the girls. It was sad. We obviously knew not to go like full pelt on them, but they were technically some good players.
Take it easy on them. They're only Doris's.
He weren't allowed to say it that way, but yeah. No, but we understood. We were faster. We were more powerful than they were, but technically some of them were quite good. So that's fine. That's fair enough. And then you've got the higher level now, but then you've got this thing about why are you trying to, like, I understand you can fill stadiums and stuff like that, but you're trying to charge like top level money. Like it used to be £5, £6, £7, £8, £10, something like that to go and watch the women's game. And that's not being harsh on them because I've played where people pay £3 to come and see me, and I'm not worth paying £3 to go and watch. Like if that's what people can get, people can get. But when they're saying, "Oh, it's £25 now," and then the pies are the normal price of like a normal football game, like an adult men's football game, you're like, "Come on, mate, play the game." Like you want us to come and support? Yes, we're happy to come and support. Don't fleece me. Like, help me out. You don't need to charge that. And the one that bugs me is that it's all sort of come about from the WNBA, right? This is where it all started to come to my attention. And one of the players, I can't remember which player it was, basically said, we know we don't do the same thing as the men do. We play the same sport, but we just want the same rights as the men with the same share, right? So that's what they basically said. They want the same share as the men get. And then someone worked it out. So what you're saying is you want the same percentage of say the players own 1%, or say 10% between them, like the men do. They want the same share. But the WNBA doesn't make any money. So it's actually lost money. So technically, you owe them money. The NBA supplements it. And it's the same with the football thing. If you're saying you want the same percentage as men, okay, well, technically, for the Women's World Cup, women actually get a higher percentage of the revenue as prize money than men do. So that's the part that I'm baffled at. Like, where is this money going to come from? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I thought you were going to. Where I thought you was going with that is that women's teams, professional women's teams, are supplemented by the main men's team. They run at a loss. It costs somewhere between, depending on the size of the club, between 2 and 5 million a year, just in order to say you've got West Ham ladies or Chelsea women or whatnot. So, I mean, when they're talking in the NWA, what is it? NWA.
I think NWA.
NWA. We're going on. Hang on.
What's Ice Cube doing?
NWA. Wait. There we go.
There we go. Emerson.
I messed up twice. I said rather than WNBA, I said NWA. I thought I'd said NWO. I put up a WWE character. I still but yeah. So anyway.
Oh dear.
I'll edit this bit out if I can be bothered. Just keep it in. Yeah, the problem with them wanting a share of the takings, are there stadiums as full as the men's? Is there the same amount of like commercial revenue? Do they have the same level of sponsorship? Are the television rights the same? Because if not, you can't be holding your hand out for that money. I mean, one of the women that came out was the American Birds.
Megan Rapinoe.
Rapinoe, yeah. When the USA won the Women's World Cup, she came out and she thought that was going to be an equal pay. One of her biggest arguments was, and this is for the YouTube viewers mainly, I'm going to put a graphic up now. She was quite instrumental in saying, surely that's worth the entrance fee. So,
no comment.
So for the audio-only listeners, I've just put a picture up of Alicia Lehman. So you can go over to YouTube and enjoy that. Give it a like, give it a follow. And you can also like the page as well whilst you're liking everything else. I did say liking, by the way. Yeah, it's a strange thing. I mean, I can't. So we're going to settle it once and for all. I'll tell you what we're going to do. You're going to get your Magic AI fantasy matchup calculator.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Lionesses World Cup winning women's team. And we're going to put them up against, would you rather the World Cup losing finalist men's team or the European Championship losing finalist men's team?
Let's just do the current one. Do the current one.
The current men's team.
Yeah.
Again, so a team that hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
Up against the world champion women's team. Yeah. World Cup winners. Right. So let's do it. Go on. Over to you.
Right. So I had this prepared earlier. So let me read what it says. So the game will be played at Wembley Stadium in London. Women's team have won the toss and are classed as the home team. The men are the away team. The match starts off with high energy from both sides. The women's team, known for their tactical discipline and quick passing, started strong. In the 15th minute, the women's team took the lead with a stunning goal from their star forward who dribbled past two defenders and slotted the ball into the bottom corner.
I just couldn't see that physically. I'm not being sexist. I just couldn't see. I couldn't see that physically. Could you? Am I being a misogynist here? Let me know in the comments. Like, I love women. I couldn't eat a whole one, but I love women. Like I said, I've got 3 daughters.
Excuse me.
But I couldn't see that physically. I couldn't see them unless these women are like Chris Cyborg or what's the Aussie girl's name? That's Megan, I know, isn't it? What's her name? The MMA fighter. Fucking enormous. She's about 6'5" and built like a British shit house.
I think she looks like Godzilla. Do you know which one you mean? She's just like the Great Khali.
Yeah, she does look great. Yeah, unless she was at centre back, I couldn't see. That's why. Look, sexist aside, right? I couldn't. That's why. Like, not just like commercial and monetary or whatever. If you take the fastest ever serve in tennis recorded from a woman and the fastest ever serve from a man recorded, the man is so much more powerful generally. The physicality is not a contest, so they can't play against each other.
Yeah.
If you take the world record time in the women's 100 meters, it's about a second and a half slower than the men's 100 meters. In fact, if you took the winner of the last Olympics 100 meters, it was something like she would have come 7th in the men's final. So surely we have to understand bone density, muscular structure, testosterone. Surely logic and common sense says that there would be the physical attributes wouldn't live up to the men's game. Am I being wildly sexist in saying that?
Well, I'll give you my pick at the end. I'm going to play devil's avocado just for you.
Right, go on. Yeah, go on.
Stop being sexist. Moving on. The men's team responded quickly, showcasing their physicality and speed.
Right, yeah, there you go.
Is that the new avocado?
Yeah.
In the 30th minute, they equalised with a powerful header.
Sorry, that's more of a peach, I think, instead of an avocado.
Devil's peach. Or a plum.
Sorry, Douglas.
England men's team equalised from a powerful header from a corner kick. First half ended with both teams level at 1-1, setting the stage for an exciting second half.
Ridiculous.
The second half began with the men's team applying pressure. Matron. But the women's defence held firm. The women's goalkeeper made several crucial saves. That's Mary Earps, keeping their team in the game in the 60th minute. The women's team regained the lead with a beautifully crafted team goal, finished off by their midfielder with a precise shot from the edge of the box. Yeah. The men's team, determined to equalise, pushed forward aggressively. Their efforts paid off in the 75th minute when they scored a well-worked goal, making it 2-2. The match became increasingly intense, with both teams creating chances and a flurry of cards being shown. Really?
This is the most woke AI politically correct version, not to offend anyone I've ever heard. Go on.
In the dying minutes of the game, the women's team launched an impressive counter-attack. Their winger sprinted down the flank and delivered a perfect cross into the box. The women's team captain rose above the defenders, grow up, and headed the ball into the net, securing a dramatic 3-2 victory for the women's team. The final score, the women's team 3, men's team 2. Player of the match, the women's team captain for her leadership and match-winning goal. It can't even name her. That's what baffles me.
Yeah.
What an exciting and closely contested match. Do you have any other scenarios or matches you'd like to simulate? Not from you. Thank you.
No, not now. So, with the burning question really is, if we're going to break this down tactically, is who's made the sandwiches? Well, that's all going on. I'm going to get
Listen, Linda.
No, listen, right? All respect to women, right? And they do a fantastic job. Women lost without them. But I couldn't see the women's England team beating the men's England team. And I can't see it going like that at all. Can you?
Well, look at the Americans. Like the American World Cup winning team played university under, was it university? No. It's a high school under 15 team and lost 7-0. No. Like, come on. And it's one of those things. It's not an issue. Like, have women having their own sport and stuff like that. And by all means, if you enjoy watching the sport and you enjoy, like me, I personally, I enjoy football. If I'm out and about and, oh, look, if I rang you, if I was still in Tenerife, like, Leva, listen, Tenerife women are playing against Las Palmas women. Do you want to go? Like, be a good laugh at that. Do you want to go? I'd go because I love football. That's Villa. And she's Swiss.
All right.
Unfortunately, yeah. So I'd go. Like, I love football. And it doesn't matter who's playing it. I just love football. But this whole thing about we should be treated the same, you're not the same. It's like me saying that we should get the same for OnlyFans as women do. No. It's unfortunately, it's not how it works.
I thought you meant you and me. That's what I thought you meant. I
should get the same as your OnlyFans.
Yeah. We should be on the same amount of money on OnlyFans.
Yeah,
I've got considerably more body than you, so.
I thought you were going to say content.
No. Just if they're paying by the inch, surely I deserve the lion's share, is what I'm saying. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Not get involved in that.
Okay, all right, no worries. Let us know in the comments, not about mine and Fraser's OnlyFans fees, but I've just called you Fraser and all.
It's all right.
Not about
giving away my secret identity.
Yeah, I know. Not about our OnlyFans fees, but what you think about women versus men? Do they deserve parity? Should they be on equal pay? Does it matter about the standard of football? Does it matter about sponsorship deals and revenue? I mean, I sing. Should I be on the same amount of money as
a karaoke singer?
No, or the other way around. Should a karaoke singer get the same money as I get for a private gig? Or shouldn't I, if I'm doing the same job should I not be getting the same money that Oasis are getting? I sing better than Liam Gallagher does. Do you know what I mean? Should I not be getting the same money they're getting for a stadium to hundreds of millions? Doesn't work like that. They have a much larger profile than me. They have a much larger fan base than me. They're a commodity. They sell more than I do. Therefore, they get paid more than I do. And I feel like that's the same in football. So join the conversation. Let us know in the comments below, as well as if you're listening on all the audio platforms, come over and have a look on YouTube. There's more episodes on there that we can't always upload because of the amount of content we're restricted to each month. If you're watching on YouTube already, if you want to listen to us on the move, then you can do on platforms like Spotify, Alexa, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, blah, 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 blah. Loads there. Make sure you like and comment. This is what's really helping Nate lately. So could do with that. Right, I'm going to leave you with an unpopular opinion.
Good, because I've got before we go as well, I've got a story to tell you from work today. Right at the end, I told the guy I'd tell you, So go on. Unpopular opinion, talk to me.
Unpopular opinion, right? I'm going to caveat it with this. What would you say are the top 2 or 3 tools or skills that a player needs in the top level football in the Premier League? What would you say?
Physically or mentally? Or both?
Physically.
Physically.
Attributes. What's important?
As in regards to like physical, as in regards to like a physical abilities, in regards to power, like kicking the ball, like power, pace. So you, to be a footballer, I think you've got to have, I would say, power, pace, and balance. If you've got those 3, I think you could be a professional.
Right. So, are we agreed that players like Rodriguez are not looking like they cut it in the Premier League because they may be technical on the ball and they may be clever in a slower league like La Liga or in Italy or in the Argentinian league, but without that pace, they certainly, lots of them get left behind at the level of the Premier League, how fast and powerful that league is.
I think what does it in the Premier League is the teams all do it. That's the thing. So, like, when you watch La Liga games, they all play a similar style, but in different ways. Well, in England, I think they do the same thing. We all play a bit more physical, a bit more aggressively, while in some of the other leagues you watch, it's not as aggressive in attack, or it's not as aggressive in the air. The ball is more on the floor. It's different horses, different courses. I mean, I noticed straight away when I first come back from living in Tenerife and then came here, the ball moved different. Where I'm used to it dropping, maybe because we were slightly higher in Tenerife, maybe because of the clear air, maybe because of the dust, maybe because here it's a bit wetter. The ball moved different. The ball seemed heavier and moved differently here than it did there. So maybe that's a thing, the environment they're playing in. Maybe the Spanish players would play similar to English if it was vice versa, and English would play more like Spanish if they had that culture, the culture and the weather. But I think it's all horses and courses. There's footballers that can't do it in certain leagues, and footballers that look. Forlan struggled here, looked like a world beater in Spain. You know what I mean? And then there's like, yeah, I think Shevchenko was slightly different. His injuries stopped him, I think, because even when he went back, he was a different player.
Sebastian Veron.
Again, to Veron, I think he came into a side which was built around the 4-4-2. I think if Veron would have played now in a 3-man midfield, I think he would have looked a lot better.
So my point is, coming back to the point, my point is, if you are sluggish, you probably don't cut it in the Prem, do you? If you're slow, if you don't have pace.
Depends on your position.
Yeah. Okay, so here's an unpopular opinion. Ready? Pirlo, Busquets and Iniesta would have flopped in the Premier League.
Iniesta, no. Iniesta was quicker than you think.
Right.
And probably better on the ball than the other 2. Better dribbler. Right. Mm-hmm. Pirlo, if you set up to play to Pirlo, I think he'd have done well. And I think Busquets.
What if you just threw him to play 6 in your Liverpool team?
Pirlo, I think he'd do well against 70% of the teams and struggle against the other 30.
What if you put him in a team that didn't have the lion's share of possession and you put him in Southampton team?
Then he would massively struggle, wouldn't be the team. No,
that's what I mean. He couldn't be, those style of players couldn't be like a Letitia in that team, could they?
No, but are they that maybe as the teams they've played for made that style? You know what I mean? So like made the player that style of play because that's all he's played with. Like if you like in Italy, you could be a lower end team and still get a good share of possession because that's how they play. In Spain, Busquets only really played at Barcelona until he went to Inter Miami, and that's all he knew. So,
but we also referenced this in another episode when we talked about coming through the academy and coming through that system and learning to play the Barcelona way.
Yeah.
So that's another reason for my unpopular opinion that he would have flopped playing in a mid-table Premier League team with a totally different system. Is that an unpopular opinion, or have I got a point?
I think it's a bit of both. I think you've got a point. I still think people will be unpopular, especially those that maybe don't watch that position as much as like I love watching that position, the Makelele role. Like, but with now it's more ball playing and getting the ball off the back. So yeah, I mean, then the other flip part of it is, or would they have stood out? I mean, look at Southampton. Southampton insist on playing the ball out from the back. So would he then have stood out? Because he might get robbed twice, but 6 times you're going to turn the man and break through the midfield and break the line. It's a difficult one, but I would probably go towards, I think cream rises. I think if these players were, you're speaking about the elite players of this position, I think eventually they would have got to where they would have been. I think they'd have been seen, the talent would have been picked up. I mean, look at Robertson when Liverpool picked him up. He weren't nothing really special at Hull. When we bought him, everyone was like, oof, who's he? What's he going to do? Sit on the bench? And he was brilliant. Maguire at Hull, when they got relegated, Leicester picked him up, and then Man U paid 80 million for him. I think certain players will, if you'd have gone out of the top 10, I'd have said, yeah, that could have been different. But picking some of the best players to ever play that position, I reckon they would have adapted and would have got there eventually, or the teams would have played to their strengths.
So if you stuck Busquets in the Ipswich team, how does he do?
Prime Busquets or Busquets going for the academy?
Prime Busquets.
I think you'll see him do a job, and I think he'd do well. I don't think he'll be anywhere near the level he is in prime Busquets. You won't be talking about him like that.
That's the point.
You'd be talking about a Schneiderlin when he was at Southampton. I think that's the way you talk about him.
That's a great example. And the last question is, if I could offer you one of those 3 in their prime to come in and replace Gravenberch, are you taking that? And which of the 3 are you going for?
To replace Gravenberch, because Iniesta didn't play that position. Iniesta was more of an attacking. Iniesta in our centre midfield would be brilliant. Iniesta in any midfield. Iniesta is one of the few I think you could put in any team and it enhance the team. Like, I don't think there's anyone centre midfield wise, the way he played, he would enhance any team. Not saying he would be better than the player, but it would enhance the team. So to me, if Brian Busquets or Brian Pirlo, we would suit Busquets.
Right. I mean, I was thinking about this in terms of West Ham, but I don't really think we need any of them because we've just had 16 years of the Canning Town Pirlo, Mark Noble. So that's another one for you. Let me throw this at you, right? Should he have ever had a full England cap? Under 17, under 15's captain, under 17's captain, under 19's captain, under 21's captain. In that 2015 season, you wouldn't have watched it as closely as me, but he was one of the best midfielders in the league. He was absolutely running the show. Like in that sort of role, in that sort of style of play. Did he ever deserve a go for England?
I remember when there was talk of Liverpool interested in Mark Noble, and I was buzzing about it. I thought, yeah, that was the sort of player that we would have. Let's have a look at the England players that got caps in 2015.
Yeah. There's some shit and all went there in front of him.
I
would have loved a prime Pirlo spraying balls about for West Ham. Could you imagine? Oh, what a player. What a player. So, yeah, who obscure players that got called up?
So, look, 2014. So, let's say 2014, 2015. Yeah. England midfielders who played in...
Or maybe 15, 16. I forget what was the last season.
So, you've got... Gerrard, Lampard.
Yeah.
Some players here. Oh my God! See, this is what's done. But this is why I don't trust the ChatGPT. It says Frank Lampard. It showed a picture of his dad.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Henderson, Wiltshire, Milner, Barkley, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Lallana, Carrick, Sterling.
Yeah, you can see why he's not getting in over those, can't you?
So yeah, you could. I mean, especially at that time, you had Milner was probably still a winger then. Barkley was just burst on the scene. Wiltshire was another one. He's a wonder kid that should have injuries curtailed him. Henderson was becoming quite vital at the time. Lampard was a beast. Gerrard was a beast. Yeah.
Henderson.
The Ox was good. I think he was. Don't know if it was at Arsenal then or we took him then. Lallana was with us. Carrick was. Yeah, I could see why he didn't get a game, but I mean that could be something we could work on. I tell you what, for the next episode, we'll have a look at see if we can create the Premier League era English players that never got a cap.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, for God's sake, Michael Antonio had a call up, but then got injured in training and never featured, and then because he never played, he changed allegiance to Jamaica.
Fair play to him. I mean, I don't see Mark Noble as Jamaican, but you know, he might have some Irish in him.
Well, maybe
get on Steve McLaren.
I was going to say you can maybe do the Steve McLaren version. Right, mate. Another great episode. We're approaching an hour. We keep saying what we do is we try and keep it around to half an hour, and then what happens is we carry on enjoying ourselves and rabbiting.
Get sidetracked, yeah.
Sidetrack. Any other business? Anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this story.
Yes.
Just as I finish work. So I sent it to the boys, Will and Bass. They'll get a shout out. So we were talking.
Shout out Will and Bass. Nice to meet you.
So Bass is a Man U fan.
Can't be old. Never mind.
But Will is not a Man U fan. I was wearing a Porto top today. Hilarious. So Bass was talking, and we were talking about football, and we were talking. I said about we're hoping to have a place in Leeds soon. So does you know anyone where they do football and stuff like that? He goes, yeah, I've got a couple of people that play five-a-side on a Monday. That's how the chat's going, right? So we're talking football, and I said to him, Bass, are you not a footballer? And he went, no, I'm more of a fisting man. So
does he mean he boxes? Does he mean
he meant his boxing? He meant he likes his boxing, but I mean, I remember I joined a fisting club once. I just wanted to enlarge the circle of my friends.
Brilliant. I like
that one for free.
on that note, make sure you like and subscribe. If anyone has been offended by Kanye's misogynism, really, and disgusting jokes,
don't be dropping Andrew Tate on me now.
Make sure you like and comment. We try to do this a bit more regular. Keep the views coming. Keep the lovely comments coming. Much appreciated. Until next time on
Opinions from Offside.
We're going to see you soon. Keep balling, everybody.
Keep balling, baby.
Keep balling, baby.